WIFTBPM.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
very small, 'cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even
See, I don't need no alcohol. Your love makes me feel 10 feet tall. Without it, I go through withdrawal. 'Cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters.
These buildings can drift out to sea, a natural catastrophe, but there's no place I'd rather be, 'cause nothing even matters to me. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters.
sometimes have a tendency to look at you religiously. Yeah, 'cause nothing even matters to me.
Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters. You won't find me at no store. I have no time for manicures. With you it's never either or. 'Cause nothing even matters. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters at all. Nothing even Nothing even matters.
Now my team could score and make it to the Final Four. Just repossess me 4x4. Yeah, 'cause nothing even matters no more.
Nothing even matters.
Nothing even matters, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing even matters to me.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you, wonderful people. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the Xfinity Studios. We are not live from there at all. This is the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with us anyway. If I could hear myself, I probably wouldn't have said that. But I couldn't hear myself. Let's try this again. What's going on to you, wonderful people? Welcome to this Tuesday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Tucson Warner. My name is Herb Howard. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to hang out with us on this glorious Tuesday afternoon. I hope you find yourself doing very, very well. Each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m., we get together right here with you all and discuss issues impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, and also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of those issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for overcoming said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but more importantly, overcome them as a collective. So thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. Y'all know, as always, your input is valued. It is appreciated. Absolutely anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly request that you please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Please, please, please share the broadcast by clicking on that little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Share it on your personal page. Share it even within your personal network. Absolutely anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of the discussion, because we think that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of this conversation, the better the opportunities we have of finding those aforementioned solutions. So please, please, please share the broadcast. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can contribute to the show by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We certainly appreciate each and every one of those. Shout out to Brother Sadiq for sending the stars. We missed you in the studio today, but I assume that you will be back in your rightful place on the green side of things whenever you are able. Appreciate the stars, Brother Sadiq. Again, this is I Say What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. What's happening, good brother?
Well, damn, good brother. Blessed and highly favored, man. How you?
If I was doing any better, I'd sell myself, man. I'm feeling good, man. You know, we got Ron Rilla behind the glass.
Yeah, we ain't had Ron Rilla in the studio with us in a long time, and obviously his vacation has made him lose his goddamn mind.
And I don't know what he is
obviously,
out his rabbit ass
his
man.
mind already.
He is. I don't know what's on his bird, but you know, it just like y'all think we just be making up shit with Ron. It's always something. Like we don't be making this up on this dude. It's always something with this guy, man.
We love him, but it's hard, man. It's like
It's difficult,
you
man.
know what I'm saying.
It's becoming more and more.
He
of a
love
challenge.
he love him, but it's hard, man. It's like I don't know. Like I feel like he be in like a alternative universe sometimes.
Man, we got to put the people up on game. So we sitting outside the studio a minute ago, and Ron comes outside tapping his watch like, "Hurry up, get in the studio! Hurry up, get in the studio."
He did everything but snap his finger at us like, let's go.
Yeah, you know, and just because it's Ron, we decided to sit outside for another 5-10 minutes just because.
Like, who the fuck is you talking to? Let me make myself a sandwich.
Like, we follow your rules. Get your ass out of here, man. You done lost your mind, Ron.
Pardon us for hopping on just a little bit, a few minutes late. It was Ron's fault, man. This
Damn,
motherfucker
G.
is tripping around this camp.
Making it hard for everybody.
You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary, man.
Think he got some authority or something.
I don't know what.
He like a mall cop.
I blame. Yes, he is. That's a great analogy.
He's the mall cop.
That is phenomenal. Lil Ron follow people around stores on a hover round.
And with a flashlight.
With a flashlight.
Get your ass out of here, man.
This
Niggas wildin'.
I blame Big Lavender.
Big Lavender.
I blame Big Lavender. Big Lavender's and set him up for failure. Ever since Big Lavender told him he can oversee the interns, God damn.
He done lost his mind.
Ron think everybody is just under his purview of command. Like,
Give him a little bit of power. He's subject to go
wrong with
crazy.
him, man? Well, I don't know what the man be around here talking about. Hey, I'm trying to talk to my interns. Like, interns,
fam?
those are people, fam.
Man,
What?
Big Lavender got to get him in check.
Big
man.
Lavender got to reel this man in. So something is in. Ain't quite firing in his brain. I don't know what it is, man. But anyway,
But we back though.
how you doing, Ron? Really, you all right, man?
If I was feeling any better, I'll sell myself.
Yeah,
your lines and
I
shit.
think you should say yourself because your stock is way too high. Okay,
I forgot who I was dealing with. Everybody else listening to me, so I be forgetting when I'm talking to y'all. It's a different story.
I don't know what the hell. Like you in there.
What's up, Ron,
Y'all said
man?
this fool coming. He looking at his watch. Like, let's go. We like, hey, fam. I don't. Your watch very well may say 3:04 or 3:05 or whatever it says, but I assure you, it is 2 in Herb's time.
Yeah, man.
Okay, what's wrong with this man?
I don't know. G. I don't know.
We'll
But
see.
I'm happy to see you, man. I ain't seen you, Ron. We was missing your little ass.
Yeah, I miss y'all, my brothers.
Yeah, he got a car and been to work since.
I know, right? I hit hot boy, and when I came in, he was asleep. I was like, "What's you burning the candle on both ends?"
Yeah, this motherfucker got a car. He ain't been to work since. I come in, he got his shoes off in the lounge area. He just walking around. You know what I'm saying? He got his shoes off. He drinking a Rip It. He been out all night.
Man, he done found a whole new side of life, G.
You know what I'm saying? You need an energy drink today, man?
Yeah, I've been working all day.
Oh, man. Woe is you. It's 3 o'clock. You been working all day.
What was you?
5:30.
Man. Damn.
Ron then finally met the 20-year-old 3-girl rotation. He got a car now. He
Right.
can
Oh,
get
yeah.
everybody.
He got a
You know
little
what I'm saying?
rotation
You gotta
now.
get that 3-girl rotation.
It's
You know
hard.
what I'm
It's
saying?
hard to balance multiple partners, brother. That's not an easy thing.
It's a task, Ron. It's a task, G.
I just make it look easy. Oh, I'm just serious. No, for real, we got a lot of things we want to get into with you guys today. Obviously, Mitch McConnell continues to McConnell, and that dude is. It's like Trump and McConnell. They be like neck and neck for complete bullshit. Trump finally is like, yo, we should probably get this.
Run them 2 bands.
Yeah, we should probably increase the stimulus checks to $2,000. And Mitch McConnell's like, maybe we shouldn't. Like everybody's with it. They got Republican senators that's with it. Mitch McConnell's like, nah, let's just hold that up for a minute. Let's just hold that up for a minute. I don't know what his issue is. So we are going to get into that. There's an article from I'll cite the source in a
The
minute.
issue is they don't give a shit about the people, man.
Nah, they don't.
It's not really no in-depth conversation. They just don't give a shit about the people, right? Like, the government has been bought and sold. You know what I mean? So it's about special interests. It's about lobbyists. It's about who can make me money, who can keep me in office. So again, man, going back to the context of how, the rest of the world is kind of dealing with the pandemic and how America's dealing with the pandemic it's a very different thing, man. And they're vigorously letting you know that they could give a shit about the citizenship.
Yeah,
no shit.
They letting you know, but they also are leveraging it for political gain and power, right? They still playing this game, right? And Trump is too, right? Trump ain't wake up this morning like, yesterday morning like, I really give a fuck about the people now, right? He ain't wake up like that either. He's doing it for his own personal reasons too. Shout out to Don. She say that's McConnell and Trump teamwork. She ain't wrong, right? These motherfuckers ain't polar opposites. They playing this game and they just playing it for different reasons. And when I need you to do this, you do this. When you need me to do that, I do that. And Trump is just leveraging the fact that everybody in the country gonna be like, yeah, I would prefer to have $2,000 over $600 to also include in this same vote for them to launch an investigation into voter fraud from November.
Yeah, I just don't want to minimize.
Vote on all that.
Mitch McConnell is the Senate Majority Leader. He's not the Senate.
No, yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
No,
so even Trump, right? The president in most instances is a figurehead. When you started thinking about the fact that the Senate and the House has to vote on bills, it is what it is. So those are local representatives that you all elected.
Facts.
We all elected.
Facts.
Right, and they all work for you. They are accountable for you. Right, and because we don't hold their feet to the fucking fire, and it's easy to kind of like single out Mitch McConnell, it's easy to single out Donald Trump, it's easy to single out Nancy Pelosi. At the end of the day, man, that shit was brought to a vote, and the vote says, hey, man, we ain't fucking with it. Mm-hmm. And those are all people that we elected. Who was your local senators? Where you at in it? And how do you hold their ass to the fire? That's part of the conversation. This is a transactional relationship, period. So it's a negotiation being had, and what they've been telling us over the duration of this pandemic is, we don't really give a fuck, and you can't really threaten us.
What you gonna do?
And in a lot of ways, they're right, and they're right because we're dumb. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but that's what it is. So they levy that the relationship with the lobbyists and the special interest groups and corporations, and just go down the line. And as long as when the election season or the election cycle that they're under comes up, and they can get their campaign financed, and they can get marketing and PR, and they allude to our fear, and we fall in line.
Oh yeah, we fall in line all the time.
We fall in line every goddamn time.
They do it because it works. Like they keep running the same play because the same play continues to work. And until you adjust, I'm gonna keep running the same play on you. It's very, 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 very simple, man. Back in the early days of football, when the Packers was winning championships all the time, and Vince Lombardi was their coach, they ran one play. It was a power sweep. And there's an old clip of Vince Lombardi saying, what we're looking for is a seal here, and we want a seal here, and we're going to run the ball right in the alley. And they ran that play over and over and over again to the tune of like 6 straight NFL championships. You can't stop it. We're going to keep doing it. We have not shown an ability, nor, in my opinion, all that much of a desire to stop them from doing what they want with what they have been doing. And so they're going to keep running the same play. It makes sense. I wouldn't stop it. I wouldn't stop it at all. I see you letting people know about the I Say What I Said podcast page on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Please follow that. Iswis Pod on Instagram. Please, everybody, take a quick moment to follow that Iswis Pod on Instagram, so you can stay up to date with all of the things that we will be uploading to those pages. Highlights from the show, different discussions, different topics we want to have. We'll be accepting some of your input for different topics that you might want to discuss. You can send us ideas there. Some of y'all send us ideas to our personal Facebook pages now, and that's cool too. But follow the Iswis Pod Instagram page as well, please, and thank you.
So you see Big Lavender in the comments saying you got a muscle shirt on.
Big Lavender loves me so much, man. Like dead ass. Big Lavender is my number one fan.
Number one fan.
He's my number one fan, and I appreciate it, man. It don't matter what I got on. If I got on a suit, he got something to say about that. Sweater, t-shirt, hoodie. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Maze, if I could give you this swag, I would let you borrow it, bro. But you still wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Wouldn't know what to do with it, G.
You wouldn't even know what to do with it, man. I was looking at a bunch of old pictures of Maze yesterday. Rest in peace to DK. He was posting his pictures with DK, all the other guys in there looking fly. Maze looked like he fresh out of Bowling Green, trying to fit in with the Chicago niggas.
Said Bowling Green.
Bowling wherever.
Bolingbrook.
No, and was I supposed to know it?
So my family's from Bowling Green, so we got to straighten that out. Bowling Green is in Kentucky.
They
already been shitting on Kentucky because of Mitch McConnell, but my family's from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Was
I supposed to know how to properly pronounce Maze's hometown?
Kentucky relief around here.
like whatever, man. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, they own you, cuz.
Yeah, listen, man. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, and you just gotta let it flow, man.
You their favorite. That's all it is.
Listen, man. I'm flattered.
And now I appreciate he got the Herb and Al show, right? So he thinks that's funny, right? Thinks that's funny.
He does.
I'm not gonna respond.
I'm not gonna dignify that foolishness.
I'm not gonna dignify that foolishness.
That is funny, man. I do want to say this, man. So when we when we were on air today, I was saying that it's still the truth. I didn't know DK all that well, like personally. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody I had crossed paths with. I was around high school basketball circuit for a long time, not because of me, because of my brother. And so, you know, we had crossed paths, and he coached with Lamont Bryant, who's like an uncle to me, and they worked together for a long time. So I knew him, but by the time I got home, like my phone was like going crazy about it. My mom was talking about it. My brother was talking about it. Everybody was on Facebook. I was like, yo, I didn't really make those connections to all the you know, Chicago is a big city, but it's a small city.
It's a small town inside of a big city.
Yeah, I agree. You ain't never really more than 1 degree of separation away from anybody. Like if I don't know you, I certainly know somebody that you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's one of the things that kind of irritates me about all of the violence and stuff in the city. Like, bro, you probably don't know that dude you about to shoot at, but somebody that you do know cares a lot about that motherfucker and will tell you don't harm that person. You know what I'm saying? Chicago is just small and connected like that. And so once all of those dots began to connect for me last night, I was like, yo, that's how I found myself back on May's page looking at all these. Mays had so much mall jewelry on, it was unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much mall jewelry Mays used to wear. You know, just the shit you get from the middle of the mall. I know what it is. The little vendors in the middle of the Mays had so much of that shit on back in the day.
Yeah, man. You know, that's why we knew to shop at, man. When you don't know better, you can't do better.
Mays just walked up on the middle of the mall vendor and was like, I got $100. Give me everything you got, fam.
Give me everything.
Give me everything
Give me the silver platinum chips. With the diamond chips.
Give me everything you got.
The zirconian chips for the eyes. We all done it before. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God. I said, all right, man, work with him. So, you know, shout out to DK for at least getting Mays whatever minimal amounts of swag he has now. We appreciate you for that, DK. Your contribution has not gone unnoticed because I wouldn't even be here if he still dressed like that.
Yeah, man. You know, but back to the point about Chicago being a big city in a small town, that's one of the conversations we want to have today about just when we start thinking about how Chicago became what Chicago became in regards to like black people, for one, and how we kind of losing the essence of that as well. You know, like Chicago is a direct derivative of the Great Migration. And as we kind of move through this kind of gentrification process, there's another migration taking place, and it's a migration from up out of Chicago. And what's that look like in the future? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it's important, even in regards to like how we quantify the things that go on. Like you started the conversation around Chicago violence, and you was like, it's a big city in a small town.
Yeah.
And year to date, I just saw these numbers today. It was like shot and killed, 713, shot and wounded, 3,439. Total shot, 4,152. Total homicides, 786. So, oh, wow. Okay, I was going to say, how do you have 713 shot and killed, but then total homicide, 786? That means they must have died some other way, you know. Mm-hmm. But those numbers look outrageous.
Yeah, you can stab somebody to death. You can beat somebody to death.
Yeah, but those numbers look outrageous. But then when you quantify it through the lens of black poverty, it starts to get normalized and you start to understand it. Mm-hmm. And the reason why Chicago is such the epicenter, and this is a conversation again about lineage and legacy of that lineage, is because that Great Migration is just what the ADOS conversation is about, right? We are the descendants of slaves,
right?
You know what I mean? And just like the wealth in the economy is kind of passed down generation to generation, so is the poverty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you don't see those kind of numbers in other large epicenters of black people, what you think about like a New York or even in LA, even though it's like only 2% black people in LA. Well, it's bigger than 2%, but it's like 2% ADOS black people in LA. Uh-huh. But it's such bigger towns. It's like comparable to our populations. But you don't see that kind of violence is because they're not really the descendants of that slave lineage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So culturally, there's some differences, and in regards to like poverty, when you start to really fully grasp and understand the numbers, even amongst the black diaspora, the ADOS populace, which is actual citizens of this country, are at the bottom of the barrel.
Truth.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's a little equity they got to operate from, which in turn creates them a stabilization point where they can kind of engage in life and community in a different way than we can. You know what I mean?
No, that's real.
So there's a video attached to that too, and we'll get in that too. I know we're gonna go into a break for a minute. Yeah. So I don't want to launch the video until we do the break. But when we come back, I think that's something we can get into.
Cool. We can definitely get into that. I also want to show another video today that I'm going to connect to the COVID relief bill, and but I gotta be honest with you about this video that I want to show you. I'm ashamed to be black about this video. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I almost don't want to show it because I feel like it is a detriment to blackness for me to show y'all this video. But I'm gonna show y'all anyway because it needs to be shown, not only for what the video is in and of itself, but what it speaks to in terms of the dire straits of poverty that we find ourselves in. It's unbelievable. When we come back from break, we'll hop into those. Shout out to the Book of Dawn too. I was watching the Book of Dawn and I saw my family on there earlier, man. Devin Thompson was on there. Super extremely talented vocalist, man. He's like an uncle to me. I've known him probably since I was like, I don't know, like 5th grade or something like that. So I saw him on the Book of Dawn this morning. Shout out to that. I appreciate it. He was like, so I told Dawn, I said, that's my family. Tell him I said what's up. So she tell him I said what's up. He like, hey Herbie, what's up, man? So they had themselves a good time with all the Herbie talk in there. Didn't really bother me, man. Everybody I tell people a lot. Like, I know exactly how long I've known someone based purely off what they call me, right? And if anybody who knew me at that age, in terms of my family, they all called me Herbie. So Don had a great laugh about that. But
Candace just gave Big Lavender a new name.
What is it?
She called him the Kiosk King.
The Kiosk King. Yes,
that's
Candace.
Classic.
Yes, Candace, I love it. On that note, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll hop into these videos, jump into today's conversation. This is I Said What I Said. Herman 2 till 6. We'll be right back.
WIFTV-PM.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Nigga, that's the court. You know what I'm saying? You see that they tearing the shit down though, man. I remember back in the day, everybody used to be out here joking and shit, man. It's your boy, young fella, man. You know what I'm saying? Tearing our shit down, nigga. My mom, nigga. Fuck with those. 60638 to the world blow, though. You understand?
On this road from a boy to a man with no one to hold my hand. Shit, I'm just praying that I make it home safe. You never know what to expect when living life up in the jacks. One wrong step could be the reason you don't make it home safe. Gang writings on the walls, niggas running from the laws. But through it all, we just really trying to make it home safe. Navigating the obstacles of the streets can be one hell of a feat. Think it's sweet, you might not make it home safe. A bunch of children of the ghetto, unaware of the shit that awaited us all. Staring at the letter CVL spray painted on walls. Was just a tender boy, son of a single mother, expecting a baby girl. Now yet subjected to this crazy world. And at this time I'm thinking life was all Saturday morning cartoons and action figures, not knowing that as I get bigger that shit'll get dark soon. Them cap guns turned to broke revolvers with bodies on them. Some rebel, some took to the streets cause ain't nobody want them. I went from mama's boy to child of the streets, a child of deceit. I was young and running wild in the streets, hanging with folks them, but I wouldn't plug. They just accepted me, gave me some lit, told me fear no Vic, that was the recipe. Can't run the streets if you know you got poor endurance. Stay on point cause proper preparation prevents poor performance. Had to look, listen, and learn to
Decade of the 20th century, thousands of African-American families left the South and came here to Chicago in search of a better life. Even more followed, as many as 500,000 people. It transformed the city and gave a rise to Chicago's black community. But as Stephen Holt reports, the city is facing a reverse migration that could have dire consequences.
From the Jim Crow South to the factories, steel mills, and stockyards of the North.
Chicago especially was a major magnet.
Perry Ermer of the DuSable Museum says the exodus began during the First World War. Millions of men, women, and children seeking jobs and opportunity, escaping oppression.
Many of the families who migrated north did so after witnessing violence, after watching their neighbors get lynched, after having crosses burned. The word came out of Chicago through the Chicago Defender newspaper, which the Pullman porters who traveled all over the country took with them on the trains. And that's how many of the Southern blacks became aware of all of the wonderful opportunities.
500,000 people migrated from the South coming to the North seeking the promised land.
But they were met with struggles. The migrants were forced to settle in the Black Belt on the south and west sides. Discriminatory housing policies meant blacks couldn't own, rent, or even occupy dwellings anywhere else. Bronzeville historian Harold Lucas notes it was in those neighborhoods blossomed the seeds of a black metropolis.
It was a bustling, thriving community where the dollar went around 6, 7, 8, 9 times because we had these businesses that we were shopping at.
We had black-owned banks, insurance companies, obviously stores, great arts movement, black arts renaissance movement.
Carrying a suitcase and a dream, thousands of black families made that long, arduous journey here to the city of Chicago. But fast forward to the 21st century, and this city is now seeing a reverse migration.
Chicago's black population peaked at nearly 1.2 million in 1980 and has steadily declined 32.9%, shy of 800,000 in 2017. Other big cities like Los Angeles, Washington, Detroit, and St. Louis have noted similar declines.
The bigger challenge has really been in attracting people to move in.
Kendra Freeman with the Metropolitan Planning Council says black people moving out has outpaced the number moving in by a ratio of 2 to 1. It may be impossible to pinpoint just one cause, but it's hard to ignore Chicago's legacy of segregation, which traces back to the Great Migration.
We haven't really fixed the structural issues of inequity that's been built around racial segregation and the devaluation of black spaces. And, I think we'll continue to have this problem of attracting and retaining black families until we're really able to address this.
MPC found this combined racial and economic segregation comes at a cost. $4.4 billion in lost income because of job disparity, millions in lost opportunity from gaps in education and resources, and hundreds of lives cut short by gun violence. But Freeman says not all hope is lost.
Our greatest asset is our people. We are resilient, we are passionate, and we love our city, even with our challenges and our struggles. And I think if we're really creating an inclusive table around problem solving for the next 10, 20, 15 years, we can see a difference here. And I think we will.
By knowing where we have been and where we came from, we can chart a course to the city we want to be.
We have to really pull from our beginning to understand where we're going in the future.
Steffelt, NBC 5 News.
The numbers are staggering. A lot of work to be done. Our thanks to Stephen. Important information.
So you get a little bit of a history there for why, you always say that Chicago is Mecca for black people, and I wholeheartedly agree. But you get to see a little bit of a history for why that is, right? Where you talk about 500,000 people migrating from the South coming up here. You talk about the role that the Chicago Defender and the Pullman Porters played in that great migration in terms of spreading that information and say, hey, y'all can come up here. It's still America, but it's decent. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of started, even the very same things that we see today.
Yeah, it's a lot of nuance in that one piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is that when you start thinking about the Defender and the mission statement of the Defender and just the power of media, right? Legitimately, the power of black media created the populace for the black demographic of Chicago. Like that shit didn't exist before the Defender said, hey man, look over here. You know what I mean? It's opportunity here. And then it speaks about how poverty and segregation played a role in creating the black belts and just kind of forcing us all to kind of live on top of each other. You know what I mean? But it was other nuances too, man. And it was like they mostly ran from racial violence, right? Mm-hmm. Now context, right? Let's think about most of the kind of police murders that we're seeing right now, that we've been seeing, at least the popularized and publicized ones. They don't really happen in the Detroits, New Yorks, not in the way that they happen in, let's say, the Minnesotas and Kentuckys and those kind of places. So they don't happen in Chicago because there is. I don't want to say because there is, even though Chicago is segregated, it's segregated in a very different kind of way, right? So there's not this kind of a free range or open air racism that kind of takes place. It's covert racism that kind of takes place.
True.
Whereas you in a small town like Iowa or Kentucky, it might be very robust, kind of in your face, kind of you still a nigga kind of emotion. You know what I mean? Which yields different kind of results. It's kind of the result of the Trump presidency in the sense of how that's affecting the notion of the rest of America.
Agreed.
Right? But in those smaller towns, that's never subsided. You know what I mean? That energy has always been on the table. And now with this resurgence of this kind of very vitriol kind of indictment against black culture, it's being felt all over the place. But these places, the Detroits, the Chicagos, the DCs for that matter, were kind of like havens for black people. You know what I mean? And now we're losing that. And what was interesting is they was like, we can't attract or retain until we have some kind of inclusiveness at the table. And then we start thinking about how the news report said Chicago was built. It really wasn't built on inclusiveness. You know what I mean? What's the day in regards to Kwanzaa? Ujamaa, which is
cooperative economics.
Cooperative economics, right? And that's kind of what the infrastructure of that black belt kind of built, right? So they talked about that. There's black insurance companies, black banks, it's just going down the line.
Right. Shout out to the Black Mall.
Right. Shout out to the Black Mall for sure, and Cassie. Yeah. But again, it's just like context is so important, right? So here we are in 2020, about to be 2021 in a couple of days, and all of that industry that existed 70, 80 years ago doesn't even exist anymore.
Nah.
Right? Because we've been looking to be inclusive.
Right.
We didn't grow them.
Right.
And it's not just growing them either because they were undercapitalized in the beginning. As the economy grows, because we lack the capital to keep applying and to keep playing, we lose our footing.
Right. We either didn't have a desire or did not have the freedom to kind of operate like we see other cultures come here and operate, right? So we came here looking for these opportunities, and we found them in the form of those factory jobs and those types of things. But we did not, kind of create these communities that were like centered in and of themselves, where we can kind of create our own culture, do our own things, similar to what we see, like we say in like Chinatown, right? They came here, sure, for all the same opportunities, but we're gonna build our own thing within this structure, right? Within things as they are with these opportunities that we have, but we're gonna make it our own type of thing. We didn't either it was a foresight issue, which I hesitate to say because we did have strongholds like that where there were these great black areas with black businesses and black culture and all those types of things. I would say that we didn't have the freedom, the autonomy to be able to kind of just move in our own way, unimpeded on by white supremacy and racism. And so I think like those things are as responsible for us not being able to build sustainable communities as anything else. And so after a while, now you say those industries are gone, right? There's no real reason to be here, right? If we came here for those industries, now those industries are gone and they haven't been replaced by something else, then what the fuck, right? Like there's no real benefit to me being here anymore. Maybe I should go find better opportunities in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or Minnesota, or Dallas. All these places where we continue to or Phoenix, Arizona, like those are some of the places where I know that we continue to kind of migrate to find different opportunities. So many people from Chicago have gone to Minnesota, Iowa, Dallas, and Phoenix, like in the past, 10 years or so, that it's ridiculous. And so, but again, no opportunities here, right? Again, they continue to let the poverty and therefore the violence run rampant in our communities. People want to get away from that, create better opportunities. The black population continues to fall, peaking at 1.3 million, now down to
less than 800,000.
Yeah, that is a huge drop off,
and that was in 2017. So
right, so and we continue that great black
less
migration away from here, right? even in those last 3 or 4 years. So,
but this is part of the conversation. Salim says there was also a pull from the industrial vitality of the city. One reason Bronzeville had a vibrant business environment was the industrial. It just moved on me. I'm sorry. Was the industrial employment that was ubiquitous during those days, and I agree, right? But as we move away from that kind of, industry and move more to this kind of digital kind of space, those opportunities don't exist. True, and that's an easy. I don't want to say that's an easy sale, but somebody else said that we didn't lose our footing, that it was given away. I want to disagree with that, right? And we someone else in the comments said we're overtaxed and underpaid. That is a strategy.
For sure.
Right? Be clear. That is a strategy to disrupt opportunity, right? So when you bring in a Walmart or a Target or a Mariano's or whatever these large chains are, right? You got to understand that the small businessman cannot compete. Not just because you don't want to shop black or you don't want to shop local. It's like there's a tax applied to those numbers when you're not buying in bulk that most people can't afford.
Right.
So the patrons that shop in your stores are still up under the footing of the American economy.
Right.
So if you got bread for $1.50 at Mariano's and then at Mr. Johnson's place bread is $3.75, the average consumer is gonna have their hand is forced.
I gotta keep this $2.25 in my pocket.
I gotta keep this money. You know what I mean? And over time, they're going to price you out of business. It just is what it is. One of the main tenets of business is that the most successful businesses are scalable. You got to be able to grow, right? And because we don't have the undergirding of any economic engines, where we just heard stories about banks denying loans to black people specifically, who met all of the credit standards, and that's not a unique story. You know what I mean? So when you can't scale business, you can't grow. So when we start to look at all the other factors that move us out of the communities, whether it be violence, whether it be lack of education, all those are remnants of our lack of capital, right? But we look at our lack of capital oftentimes, it's this pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of philosophy. We don't look at the totality of the conversation.
No, we don't. We don't. So like Alvin was just saying, Chicago is a tourist destination. It would be wise for us, few black people left here, to tap into that industry. And while I understand that premise, that is also an industry that they tried to lock us out of as well, right? And so you walk around, strike up some conversations with, people who are touring the city of Chicago. They come here and it's like, hey, where you from? Oh, I'm from so I'm just visiting the city. And it's like, oh, okay, that's real cool. What should I do while I'm here? And every time I get that question from somebody that's not from here, I always ask them the same thing. It depends. Like, what are you into? Like, whatever you're into, you can find it here. But when you ask me what I think you should do, like, I think it's going to vary from what you think you should be doing, right? Like, you think that you should be on Michigan Avenue the whole time, and I'm cool. Hit that up. Do your shopping. Hit the Art Institute. Hit the Field Museum. Hit the aquarium. Do all the go to the observatory and do the Sears Tower thing too. Like, all that's cool, right? But if you want to ask me what you should do in this city, I'm gonna send you to some places where they're gonna be like, oh, you shouldn't go there, right? And so I literally had a lady come that was visiting Chicago and tell me that she really wanted to go and take her kids to the Museum of Science and Industry, right? She's like, we were downtown, struck a conversation with her. She's like, I really want to go down to the museum. Yeah, that's my favorite museum. You should do that. She's like, yeah, but they said that we shouldn't travel that far south. They said that we shouldn't go past.
Really?
She might have said Roosevelt. I usually say like Cermak, but I think she said like Roosevelt. And I was like, first of all, lady, let me explain something to you, just about geographically where the Museum of Science and Industry is. From where we're standing right now, you're going to get on that street right there, right? That busy street, that Lakeshore Drive. You're going to get on that street and you're going to go that way and you're going to literally drive right into the Museum of Science and Industry. You're not going to see another person between here and there, right? You're not going to see a single person. You're going to get on Lakeshore Drive and you're going to literally drive right into the building. So first of all, you're not even going to see nobody. Second of all, it's complete bullshit, lady. Whatever they're telling you, whatever narrative they're telling you about you can't go south of Roosevelt, it's bullshit, right? You're not going to just be randomly shot in the face because you passed Roosevelt going south. That's not a real thing. But people believe that fully. People believe that fully. You walk around campus on University of Chicago, straight up conversations with them. They tell them all the time, don't you venture your ass off this campus, man. Don't stay right here in this box. We got Security guards on every corner for you 24/7 to watch y'all walk back and forth from class to the crib. Don't go off the campus. And, people just tell you that. So I'm saying that it's hard to really make inroads into the tourist industry when tourists are encouraged not to come to your communities, right? So you can't really set up no tourist destinations to come to your restaurants or to visit your stores or to even give tours of Bronzeville. Like Bronzeville tours are super, super dope. I know some people who do them and they're really, really cool. But trying to get other people to come to the city and do a tour through the low end is like, nah, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
So just while you was talking, man, I was trying to think about some things, right? Mm-hmm. And I know there's this conversation of there's a tale of two cities. It may be even more than two.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I was just thinking about, even if we looked at it from the standpoint of how do we get some footing in the tourist economy, right? What could you sell as a landmark or something to do on the south side or west side that would attract tourists?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really thinking about what is it, right? You said the Museum of Science and Industry.
Yeah, well,
that's not black specific, so whatever happens there does not feed the economy.
Not
of
at
the
all.
black populace,
No.
right?
That doesn't do anything for the black economy or black populace. I was just using that as an example for like they won't even come. You know what I'm saying? Like here's one of the best museums that the fucking world has to offer, and I'm not even coming to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to go south of Roosevelt.
No, I fully get your argument, but I'm trying to think in my mind, right? Because
this is what I think would be. These are viable tourist attractions.
Cities, so I thought about a few things.
You give out food tours, right? People, what should I eat? Food tours. The best food in this city is on the south side. It's on the west side. Like, some dope restaurants I can tell you to hit downtown. It's a couple of spaces I can tell you to hit up north. But you really want to get some food, you got to come into the city for real, right? So giving food tours, like, hey. People come in, they buy a package for the weekend. Say, hey, I need a food tour package for the weekend. Cool.
But I'd argue the vast majority of our hangout money goes to other neighborhoods too. Even the people who live on the south side. And
Don't disagree with you at all.
Right. So I'm just thinking about what would be the mainstays on the south side.
What
so
you got?
The Museum of Science and Industry, that's one. And this is just like spaces that you can go to and venture into.
Sure.
You got the Science and Industry Museum, you got the DuSable Museum, you got the mosque, you got the UFC, you got the Pullman Porter Museum in the Hundreds, and just the whole Pullman Porter stuff in the Hundreds, in the Pullman neighborhood.
Yeah.
But once I get past that, we got a couple food joints, and most of the food joints are not like high calorie eating. They're that's not like sit down spots. So you got stuff like fast food kind of deals like Italian Fiesta, Harold's, Dad Donuts, old fashioned donuts.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get past that, what is it? And why would that be a sales point for someone visiting from out of town? So, and I only bring these things up because, in essence, what you start to recognize is when you see that, you start to see that they've stripped us of all of our resources, right? So I'm big on biking when the weather changes, right? And I ride my bike not specifically, but oftentimes my son follows with me. And if you ride certain routes, man, you could see the narrative shifting. You can
100%.
feel the energy shifting.
100%.
Right? And most times when I think about, like in my mind, from when I was a child to today, when I ride through the city now, when I think about when I was a kid, the city seems like it was bustling and it was shit happening and it was stuff moving.
Sure.
And now I feel like I'm in the South. Now I feel like I'm in the rural South when I ride my bike. It feels like everything is dying. It's like watching the shit die slowly. You go to
That's what's happening.
You get deeper and deeper into our neighborhood specifically. Like there are some multicultural neighborhoods. I'm on the low end, but I'm in the fourth ward, and the fourth ward is kind of the most diverse ward in the city of Chicago. So you can fall into the illusion of this is what it is.
And they do it intentionally too.
Yeah, but you go west, and the only shit that's open legitimately is gas stations, and there's even a shift in the kinds of gas stations.
100%.
You know what I mean?
It's off-brand names you ain't never heard of.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's gas stations, liquor stores, check cashing, and you won't find and a storefront church. And you
let me get 20 on pump 5, a pound of ground beef, some egg. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, motherfuckers is buying food at the
That's
gas
what I'm
station.
saying.
Yeah,
like
real shit.
Yeah, like dead ass. And I think that they use the main thoroughfares to kind of like hide it, right? So if I got to get from University of Chicago to, I don't know, say Midway Airport, right? Then okay, down 50. If you come straight out of the University of Chicago and go down 55th, you can get that way to the airport. And so you come across 55th, even after you leave out of Washington Park, just going down 55th Street, say to like the Dan Ryan, you don't necessarily feel the poverty per se, right? There's a couple of storefronts. You got the Green Line. You got some little shit, some shimmery shit. It's a McDonald's like it is everywhere. They got a couple of murals on the wall, a couple of restaurants and stuff like that. But just off of those main thoroughfares, like it's nothing there. Not only businesses, but not even homes. You go down, you turn off some of these main streets down these blocks. It's 2 cribs on that whole block that are functioning. And like but they use those kind of spots to kind of hide it. You get up in those places, it ain't nothing there. Like you deviate off, even again right around there by Washington Park, you deviate off the King Drive. There's nothing on those other blocks. Like
so, this kind of reminds me of the conversation with Killer Mike was having the other day in the Georgia governor's conversation. The conversation they was having, right? He talked about the industry that Atlanta had built, and most of that industry that Atlanta had built was around black entertainment, black music specifically. Right, so he was like, "What happens when the casinos come? What do we do with these XYZ clubs and juke joints and this, that, and the third?" Right. Well, right here around the corner on 12th Street, I think it is. Well, it might be.
You know what to sell, dog?
Roosevelt, but it was Chess Records, the old blues records. Chicago had a rich jazz tradition. It was a lot of like, I talked to my great uncles and stuff, and they talk about 63rd Street and how popping 63rd Street was, and all the clubs and all that.
I can remember when it was like at least bustling. You had all the shopping and stuff down over on Halsted and all that. Like
I remember life, but not that life. Because even when I came into the world, shopping on 63rd wasn't black shopping. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was like Arab owned or somebody else owned.
It was where Maze got his jewelry from.
Right. It was absolutely. It was like Kiosk King. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Kiosk King.
But it wasn't the life that my great uncles experienced. Right. They talk about standing under the L on 63rd and Kaj, and they see Muddy Waters, and they see Duke Ellington, and they, this was like the hub of access. Right. Right. So now you juxtapose that to the Atlanta conversation, and we know how people are migrating to Atlanta. Right, so you go to Atlanta and you gonna see a T.I. You can go eat at a T.I. restaurant. You gonna see a Killer Mike. They're at the barbershop having these conversations. Yeah. So our industry is wrapped up into our entertainment and into our culture, right? But as we've kind of broadened the context of what our culture is, and we don't own it any longer, you see it migrating to different places.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's interesting and the parks. We have 2 of the biggest parks in the world on the south side. And then another one of the biggest parks in the country on the west side, right? Just those parks should be, tourist destinations, things that we can kind of market. You talk about like Central Park. Everybody in the world know what the hell Central Park is, right? I've been to Central Park just for no fucking reason. Just walking around this big dumbass park just because people talk about it all the time. Jackson Park, Washington Park should be the same, right? Those types of things, we could market those places. Phil just said, bring them to Hayes on 63rd in the summertime. That would be an experience they wouldn't even believe.
I'm with that, right? So again, 63rd and Hayes, the Chicago House Music Festival. Yeah. You got the summertime in Chicago.
Just summertime
Miami.
shot. Like, let me give you a tour of summertime shot.
Summertime.
It ain't really a particular thing. Let me show you what we pull up in. Let's pull up in Washington Park. Pull up in Jackson Park.
I'm with all that. The summertime on the south side is the most beautiful experience you could absolutely have.
It's the best thing ever.
But it's all black too. And I'm not negating the power that are trying to minimize it in no kind of way.
Yes.
But when you start thinking about tourism as an industry,
yeah.
Black people ain't got no fucking money, and that's the kind of conversation I've been trying to say, right? So I know people in this city ain't been downtown in their life.
I know, bro, but this is what I'm saying. Like, people love us.
Hear me out, though, right? So we got people in our city that ain't traveled 8 miles away to downtown.
Sure.
You got to understand that the vast majority of black people in these other places ain't traveling further than 8 miles either, right? So in order to sell these kind of events to a different kind of populace, how would that happen? Because the House Music Fest, the Brew Fest, that's Black Chicago living out Black Chicago's wildest dreams. You don't see white folks in those areas. You know what I'm saying? If they do, they stick out like a period at the end of a sentence. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a 100%. Rarity, right? And I'm not devaluing this city. I love this fucking city. But I'm just want us to understand, like, you could see the roadmap to how we've been robbed of opportunity.
This is what I'm saying.
Legitimately see it.
You could definitely see it. This is what I'm saying, though. I'm saying let's leverage the fact that y'all love us so fucking much. Let's leverage the fact that y'all love our culture so fucking much, dog. Like, every time, like, so they got that Clubhouse app now, right? Where you can hop in the rooms and talk to people from wherever, and they're like, oh, where you from? I'm from Chicago. Like, oh, you from 63rd or you from 64th or 65th? I've heard that. I've been on this damn app for 1 week. I've been on this damn app for 1 week. I've been asked that question at least 6 or 7 times. Like, oh, that's what they know, right? Oh, O Block. Fam, come here. Let's do a tour, right? Let's go see O Block, right? You want to go fucking see O Block? Pay me $100, I'll take you to O Block. And because motherfuckers already scared of it, you could probably charge them $500 just to ensure their safety, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers just want to see the shit that we experience. They just want to be around us. Like, yeah, I'll take you to O Block for sure. I will. I'll take you to Hayes in the summertime for sure. I will. No problem.
So Salim says we've been plundered. Our disadvantages will continue accruing until we are compensated for that plunder. Simply, reparations is the only answer.
That's real. That's
right?
real.
But we can see how that tide shifts and how it plays out into every other arena of our lives. You can see it in regards to like education. You can see it in regards to like violence. You can see it in regards to like health. You could just see it, right? We often, I just told you the food joints, once you get past Harold's and Italian Fiestas, the only shit left on the South Side, in large part, like, again, you have those areas, those spot areas like Hyde Park or maybe Beverly, where you might get a little bit of diversity, but the rest of that shit is Sharks and JJ's and Grease, and it's all death.
Yeah.
We ain't growing shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we got to start growing some shit. So just in the spirit of Kwanzaa, and the spirit of, again, what's today? Don't get me off. I'll be missing the days.
You talking about for Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
Ujama
is how you say it. And collective economics, we have to kind of, again, and I'm with Salim on the reparations part too. You know what I mean? But part of that collective economic push has to be a collective economic push to fully grasping and understanding how government works and fully pushing the hand of government to pay us for what they've stolen from us.
Yeah, man.
Right? And even going back to the conversation around Mitch McConnell and this $2,000, because here's what really fucks me up. If we was to get that $2,000, right, we'd be cheering and happy about that funky ass $2,000.
Believe that.
Right? Just like we was cheering and happy about that funky ass $1,000 they sent earlier.
Believe that.
Right? And again, it's context.
Which I never got. I'm pissed.
Right? It's context. If you look at the rest of the world and how they've undergirded their citizenship, you'd be like, man, we're getting fucked. Right? And we are getting fucked. But because we're getting fucked, it's like you allow that little bit of light to provide you some level of security, and it's just not real. It's just not real.
No, it's not real at all. But I do think that those are viable. You know, when you got dealt lemons, you make lemonade, man. We talking about soul food yesterday, right? We always got to make the best out of the scraps, and for whatever reason, motherfuckers love what we make. Y'all want to come see that shit? Come on, right? ROW is just saying like they do the gang tours in Chicago. They do the gang tours, but they do them from their mob perspective. So you can go see where fucking Al Capone and them used to hang out and that kind of shit. And this is out of a secret trap door. You can go from this restaurant through the backside wall and down a tunnel and around the corner. Like, well, come here. Let me show you what Jeff Ford.
I see these hood tours is getting a lot of love out here. Let me tell you something. I get a bunch of white people on the bus doing the hood tour. But I also have some of the homies rob their ass on the way to the.
You get it on both ends.
You get the real experience.
You get it on both ends, man. You convinced me it was all a part of the thing. Oh, it was just a part. It was a bet. Don't worry about it. No, you're not getting your money back.
Bit my ass. I'm scared too.
Don't rob me, cuz. I mean, robber man. We gotta take a break. When we come back from break, we're gonna hop into this news story about Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump. The stimulus package is gonna come. Is it gonna pass? Is it not? Why or why not? And who stands to benefit from either scenario? This is I Said What I Said. Herb and 2 till 6. We'll be right back.
WIFTBPM.
Where my steppers at? This is retired State Senator Ricky Hendon. This is my new song, Be My Christmas. It's on my House Party CD, produced by house music icons King Farley. It's available on my website, HollywoodHendon.com, various streaming platforms, and CDs. The album also has songs like We Getting Lit and Rona Money. Get the House Party CD in time for Christmas and New Year's Eve. This is our new song, We Getting Lit. Just in time for New Year's Eve. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Go to HollywoodHendon.com and get my music. Let's bring in 2021. Ricky Hollywood Hendon. Don't forget me, y'all. This is the king of house music, Farley Jack Master Funk, and I endorse Hollywood Ricky Hendon. Let's go to work.
like niggas ain't see the massive potential. I see murder weapons where all you see's a pad and a pencil. I do for self, I learned you worth more when you ask for nothing. Thoughts of killing shit, my brain's a weapon of mass destruction. Nuclear thoughts lead to atomic verses. Me and Max attack with a common purpose. I stole them niggas, you stole out your mama purses. You bitch niggas been disloyal since KB Toys. The streets gave me poise, no Melvins, just a bunch of Rodneys and baby boys. Listen, I'm not the one that you should try your luck with. Get abducted, fucked up, and then left in a rusted bucket, biatch. Sick train of thought, only y'all can conduct it. Just when they thought I was dusted and not a touch, I adjusted, and bounced back like I had Spalding on me. I am God, the clouds open, now the sun's rays is falling on me. To the heavens is calling on me, my shit gon' be elite. Your shit is mystery meat, you say it's beef, but it's all baloney. And fuck these niggas and all they homies, they all is phonies. I'm riding till the wheels fall off this bitch and it's stalling on me. It's alarming these rappers think that we all in the same ballpark. Fuck y'all thought the disrespect is appalling. Standing over the witch's cauldron, concocting murderous plots to help me further my spot. Guess you can say I'm stirring the pot. Heard a lot of niggas think they fucking with the overlord or going overboard. Potent dope that's moved from vocal cords. The key to success is possessing a gift that can open doors. Therefore the flow is nasty like infected open source. You at night in rusted armor, equipped with a broken sword. Throwing rocks at a fire-breathing dragon, provoking wars. These is more than rhyming words, my nigga. I'm no thesaurus, I'm too complete for you to compete. My shit deep as the ocean floors, but yet I'm barely scratching the surface. Trust me, it's more to come. So motherfucking hot, I ignore the sun. Imagine if Yvonne Thomas ignored the conscience and chose to abort a son. We never would've got to bear witness to this historic run. It's effortless when I spit these descriptive works of art. I hurt your heart with these harsh realities till it burst apart. It's feeling like I'm about to have a great year. I take the fear and hate here and turn it into Shakespeare, motherfucker. Fuck you mean, bitch.
What's happening, family? What is happening? What is happening? Happy Tuesday. Hope y'all are feeling well on this. Tuesday is my least favorite day of the week. Like, just not like I'm feeling bad today. I'm feeling amazing today. But just in general, Tuesday, I don't like the day of the week. Like, every other day of the week has a purpose, right? Even Monday, right? Even Monday. Monday, like, you might like have some specific work you need to get back to, another project you need to get done. You might just want to get away from your family because you've been around them all weekend. And so Monday is kind of like this restart button. People kind of hate Monday, but at least it serves a purpose in the week. Wednesday is hump day, right? I get past Wednesday, we good. Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. And then Friday is Friday. Tuesday is just whack-ass Tuesday. It serves no purpose, right? And so we had to throw tacos on it just to make it bearable. we have, because tacos make everything better, right? So we had to throw tacos on it just to make it a bearable day of the week. We need to cut Tuesday out the week, 4-day weeks.
Hey, shout out to Esco, man. I've been missing Esco. Specifically since we've been having to deal with Ron really for
every time I see Lil Ron, I miss Esco.
But Esco put me on game, man. I had no clue that tacos was not an authentic Hispanic dish. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, that's some bullshit.
Yeah, it's some American shit. I didn't know that.
Oh, we bastardize people shit all the time.
Yeah, we just G some shit and made it up. Like, we gonna get us to you.
Yeah, tacos. Mexicans like, what?
What the fuck is that?
Fuck are you talking about?
What you talking about, fam?
Right. Tacos.
But nah, man.
And
Shout out to
tequila.
Nicole Rogers, because I went to Cole, G. Every day above ground is my best day of the week, goddammit. This is really shaky ground that we walking on, man. And you see it with just COVID. You see it with the homelessness. You know, we from Chicago. You see it with the violence. Every day above ground is a great day.
And it's talking about places shells in the oven.
I was
making tacos tonight.
I was walking through Hyde Park the other day, man, and I was like, some young brother was walking the dog. He from the outward, looking like he just robbed a bank or some shit. And I know my head be looking crazy. I probably look like I just robbed a bank too. He was like, man, good morning, brother. He was like so cheery and cheerful that it made me cheery and cheerful. You know what I mean?
It does. It boosts your. I don't know. It boosts your mood when somebody else
changed the whole energy.
You never know what a smile and a greeting can do to somebody. That's why I'm intentional about like speaking to everybody, man.
Yeah, man. But he was like, man, good morning, brother. Like real excited. And
you can't help but like boost your shit. Like,
I was like, man, good morning, brother.
You can't help but do it.
He was like, man, have a blessed day. I was like, it's the only way to be. It was like a whole interaction. I was like, man, that was kind of fresh.
Middle of COVID, he could have came up and gave you a hug. You'd have hugged him back.
Yeah,
just because the energy. Man. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing is cool.
Definitely real fresh.
This other type of thing that we're about to bring to y'all. Not so cool, right? Mitch McConnell Senate Majority Leader, blocks the vote on the $2,000 stimulus check. There's an article that we want to read. You want to play the video?
It's up to you. It's your article. I don't remember. I read the article.
Yeah, I read the article. I didn't even watch the video, so I don't want to hear what dude got to say. For real. Okay. I just want to read through the article, and so we can have a discussion about it with the fam. So let me just pull up your computer thing, and then we can just kind of read through some of the article about Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Article says it's a little lengthy, but I'll read it as quickly as possible. It says, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, on Tuesday blocked consideration of a House bill that would deliver $2,000 stimulus payments to most Americans, spurning a request by President Trump, even as more Senate Republicans voiced support for the dramatically larger checks. McConnell's move was just the beginning of a saga that is likely to engulf the Senate for the rest of the week. Democrats are pushing for an up or down vote on the House bill, while more Republicans acknowledge a need for larger stimulus checks. Proponents include Georgia's two embattled Republican senators, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, who find themselves in tough re-election battles that will decide the fate of the chamber next week. GOP Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska also lent support Tuesday, declaring that people are hurting and we need to get them more aid. So a lot of Republican elected officials are on board for this particular bill. However, McConnell instead took note of Trump's Sunday statement that called for not only larger checks, but also new curbs on larger tech companies and an investigation into the November election. And he suggested that would be dealt with in tandem. That tech provision is commonly referred to as Section 230. McConnell says those are three important subjects the president has linked together. This week, the Senate will begin a process to bring these three priorities into focus. So McConnell's like, no, we need to separate these things. Donald Trump strategically is trying to lump all these three things together. The $2,000 stimulus check, the Section 230, which just allows him to hold these social media companies accountable for stuff that happens on their site. He don't like the social media companies because they try to censor what he says, and they keep taking down his post about election fraud, right? So he's pissed off at all the tech companies, the Facebook and all that shit. So he's pissed off at them. He want to use the 230 to get back at them. And then the other thing is he wants to launch an investigation into voter fraud from November. But he wants to put all three of these things together in the same bill. So if you pass the bill for the 2,000, then you also pass the bill for me to have this investigation into election fraud, because I'm trying to find out anything I can to stay in the Oval. He don't give a fuck about $2,000 either. Let's be clear on that. But as pressure mounted on Tuesday, Trump weighed in again through Twitter, demanding that Senate Republicans immediately pass legislation that would authorize the larger checks. He said there would be consequences for the party if they didn't act. Trump says, unless Republicans have a death wish, and it is also the right thing to do, they must approve the $2,000 payments ASAP. $600 is not enough, he says. Also, get rid of Section 230. Don't let big tech steal our country, and don't let the Democrats steal the presidential election. Get tough. Don't let them steal the election. I'll give you $2 for it. You know what I'm saying? And the whole country can be like, hell yeah, run the 2,000, fam. Let him have his investigation so he can find whatever he needs to find as his last-ditch effort to try and hold office. We continue. The shifting Senate wins come a day after the House bill passed an increase to stimulus checks with a bipartisan 275 to 134 vote. That proposal, called the Caring for Americans with Supplemental Help Cash Act, aims to boost the $600 payments authorizing the massive year-end spending and relief package that Trump signed Sunday by another $1,400 and expand eligibility for them. After McConnell spoke Tuesday, Senate Minority Leader Charles E. Schumer, a Democrat from New York, made a request to take up the House-passed bill. There's a major difference in saying you support $2,000 checks and fighting to put them into law. The House bill is the only way to deliver these stimulus checks before the end of the session. Will Senate Republicans stand against the House of Representatives, the Democratic majority in the Senate, and the president of their own party to prevent these $2,000 checks from going out the door? McConnell objected without making further comment. The addition of the new Republican support further intensified the political pressure on the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, who must navigate a path that addresses the president's concerns without exposing his party to additional political attacks 1 week before the pair of Georgia special elections determines the Senate majority. So that's another thing, right? You have all these Republicans trying to save face and not cause problems for their party ahead of a hugely important election for them that's going to be
Senate race,
right. It's going to be happening in Georgia to decide whether or not that the Democrats can flip the Senate. And so they try to do everything they can to stay in good graces of the people. So they're like, okay, we got to pass this thing. Mitch McConnell's trying to navigate that space, but we'll see. Trump weighed in again on Tuesday morning. He said, give the people $2,000, not $600. They have suffered enough, he wrote in a tweet, says the man who made them all suffer. The debate has created strange political bedfellows, aligning Trump with his Democratic foes in Congress who have sought larger stimulus payments for months and signs that the economy has worsened. The Georgia senators joined Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican from Missouri, one of the earliest GOP proponents for sizable checks, Senator Marco Rubio, Republican from Florida, who endorsed the idea on Monday, and Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, who helped persuade Trump to sign the bill by backing a push for larger checks. Absolutely, we need to get relief for Americans now, and I will support that, Loeffler said on Fox News. Perdue, meanwhile, tweeted later that he backs this push for $2,000 in direct relief for the American people. Fisher would not say if she would vote for the House bill, but said she opposes combining the question of larger payments with other issues. That's the key, right? They're like, okay, even Mitch McConnell is like, okay, we can address the $2,000 check thing, but let's not lump them together so he can use it as his last-ditch effort to maintain office in the Oval. I don't like everything rolled together, Fisher says. I think you end up with bad policy. Both Loeffler and Perdue have taken public credit in their campaigns for delivering the $600 checks in the signed bill, but they had not weighed in on the $2,000 checks before Tuesday, while their Democratic opponents, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, respectively, have both enthusiastically embraced larger amounts for days. The new wave of Republican support left Hawley convinced on Tuesday that the Senate had the necessary votes, the necessary 60 votes to advance the proposal, adding in a tweet, let's vote today. But the Senate now appears to be in a holding pattern. And emboldened Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont, who pushed for bigger checks for weeks, issued his own ultimatum Tuesday, blocking a planned Wednesday vote to override Trump's veto of the annual defense policy bill unless McConnell relents and allows a standalone vote on the House checks bills. Senator Sanders says, I don't know what he has in mind, but the House passed, to their credit, a simple, straightforward bill. Let's not muddy the waters. Are you for $2,000 or are you not? Sanders' threat scrambled a tight timeline for the final days of the current Congress, which will end on Sunday, when the new class of lawmakers are sworn in. Without unanimous agreement, the Senate cannot vote on the veto override until Friday at the earliest, raising the prospect that the two Georgia senators would have to spend several unexpected days in Washington amid the closing week of their re-election campaigns. Again, they're trying to make sure that they don't lose the Senate while also trying to delicately dance around this issue of the $2,000 stimulus checks, and Trump's trying to steal the election. A lot of things at play here. The House vetoed overwhelmingly to override the veto Monday. Speaking on the floor Tuesday, McConnell left no doubt about the final outcome once the Senate vote is taken. Soon, he says, this important legislation will be passed into law. Acceding to Sanders and the Democrats is not an easy choice for the majority leader. There is still major opposition to the larger checks among Senate Republicans, who insisted for months that any pandemic relief following on the March CARES Acts cost taxpayers no more than $1 trillion. So they say that whatever plan y'all come up with can't be more than $1 trillion. Adding $2,000 checks to the roughly $900 billion package that Trump signed Sunday would add an additional $464 billion to the cost of the legislation, a staggering price tag for many Republicans who have spent years fretting publicly about a growing national debt. The motherfuckers don't give a shit about no growing national debt. As McConnell acknowledged, Trump's demands are not limited to larger checks. In a Sunday statement released after he signed the massive stimulus bill, Trump said the Senate would start the process for a vote that increases checks from $2,000, repeals Section 230, so he can go at the social media platforms, and starts an investigation into voter fraud. To me, that's his only issue here. I don't think Donald Trump gives a single solitary fuck about giving American people $2,000 or $600. But I know if I give y'all $2,000, that'll be incentive for y'all to pass this bill, which will then allow me to open this investigation and try to steal this election back from Joe Biden. Section 230, again, is a reference to a 1996 federal law that broadly indemnifies tech platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google for the actions of their users. Trump has rallied against the tech companies as they have started to crack down on his unfounded postings alleging voter fraud in the November election, as well as more aggressive actions targeting postings made by his supporters containing threats and disinformation. So not only are you not allowing Trump to spew his rhetoric about voter fraud, but you're also keeping his followers in line and stopping them from their hate speech and taking down those posts as well. Trump don't like that either. Graham said in an interview on Monday that there would be a vote on the checks and on the law governing tech companies, but did not know if those votes would be held before the current Congress adjourns. He predicted that if there was a standalone vote on the 2,000 checks, it would pass the Senate with the necessary 60 votes, only on the standalone piece, not on the combined piece. What drove Trump's thinking was, I'm not going to have it until I get a vote on the checks in the Senate, and I'm not going to sign this bill until we finally address Section 230. I don't know how Mitch is going to do it. That is that article. No, it was a little bit lengthy, but I thought all of it was important. You have all this infighting happening amongst the Republicans right now, right? They understand how critical this upcoming vote in Georgia is to them maintaining their power in the Senate. And so they're trying to focus on winning that thing. And so while they're doing that, like, let's not piss off the working class American, let's come on with the $2,000 bill. So you're starting to get more and more Republican officials coming out and saying, okay, let's pass it. And you even have President Trump saying, okay, let's pass it. But Mitch McConnell was like, nah, fam, you're not just trying to pass a $2,000 bill. You're trying to use that to support your own cause, to re-steal the election, and to trying to get some payback against the Zuckerbergs of the world.
Yeah, that's true. I get it. But is the game between those two, or is that more powerful than, let's say, the contempt of the people if they don't get it, right? I'm thinking about, are they willing to, and they're right? If they pass this bill, Georgia looks different.
Yeah.
If they don't pass it and Georgia gets $600, it might look different again.
100%.
You know what I mean? And are you willing to give up the Senate for arrogance? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Again, you got to strike while the iron's hot. When you have leverage, when you have your opponent on the run or protecting themselves for any reason, that is when you empty your clip. That is when you got them on the ropes. You fire everything you got right now. You know that they desperately are going to do anything they can to maintain control of the Senate. So they need to desperately win this election coming up in Georgia. You see Killer Mike, T.I., all them people working hard, Stacey Abrams working hard to make sure that vote in Georgia goes to the way of the Democrats. And so you got the Republicans willing to do whatever is necessary to stay in the good graces of the voting public. While you have them, you take advantage of them. Next week, all of this should be null and void. Next week, won't none of them give a single solitary fuck about this. Donald Trump will still care because he's going to try and continue to push along the investigation into the fraud bill. Right.
Yeah, the Trump agenda.
The Trump agenda, right. He's going to continue to push the Trump agenda. But all of the rest of this falls by the wayside come next week. So it's now or never in terms of leveraging your current position to get what you want out of this thing. And while you got all of them fighting and beefing about it, and I don't like Mitch McConnell. I hate the dude, right? But I understand completely the game that he's playing here. He's like, yeah, if we was voting on the standalone bill about $2,000 checks, we can pass that today. We got the 60 votes we need for that, right? But nobody's finna lump the checks in with the Trump agenda. No, dude, we ain't on that. And so I get that piece. It's a very, very interesting dichotomy on all sides. But it does, anytime you have dissent amongst the ranks, it creates an opportunity for you to kind of get up in there. And we need to be trying to figure out how we can get up in there in this particular instance. I think it's available, and we need to take advantage of it. Here's why we need to take advantage of it. We were just talking about the poverty and what it looks like just here in Chicago, South and West Sides. But that thing is everywhere, dog. Can you please pull up the video? You know what? Do I want to play that video right now?
You can play it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, we'll play it right now. I was thinking about playing it on the other side of the break just because it's a good video to come out of the break with, but we can play it now. a quick disclaimer here.
Yeah, we gotta forewarn people.
Yeah,
This is disgusting.
I can't just put this video on y'all. This video is disgusting. Okay, it's not, sexually graphic or explicit in that nature, but it's absolutely disgusting. If you do not want to see something disgusting, you should turn away now, because in about 5 or 10 seconds we're going to play a video that is disgusting. But I'm not just playing it because it's disgusting. That's part of why I'm playing it. But I want to tie it into this issue that we have right now of poverty and desperation, and what people are doing to raise capital in this particular day and time. Please, I reluctantly ask you to pull up that video.
Yeah, this is disgusting. I'm gonna step out.
And I'm almost ashamed to be black about this video. Like, for real.
Man, I'm gonna start right now. Fuck this shit. Right now. Hey, bro. I'm ready right now. I'm ready to go to work. Let's go.
So
we
what
at
you are
19.
seeing?
We was at 20. I about to beat my shit, nigga. Oh God.
You about to beat your record. I'm trying to let you beat your record. You tripping.
Let's go, y'all.
What you are seeing is a dude.
Hey man, keep shining. Let's go.
Who is eating
a
deceased rat.
This the jumbo rat. Let's go. This the jumbo.
For donations.
Make sure y'all send them tips. $RDZ.
For tips on his lap. So as people are watching him eat this rat carcass, they are sending him money.
Alright, put that trash can.
If you listen closely, at some point, I think you're gonna hear a figure like $30,000 were sent to him.
Hey, don't matter. Still put that right there. Yeah.
Two, where you going, man?
I just beat my fucking record on God. Yeah. Let's go. Want the best?
First of all, my man is not dealing with a full deck.
Do it, dog.
To me, that's kind of obvious, not only just because he's eating the rat, but he just don't really seem like he's got, like, everything is firing on all cylinders.
You got it. You hit that 30, man. You a champion, boy.
Yeah,
see, if you
I'm
hit
more
the
than
30.
a champion. You see my numbers.
Yeah, people watching this and just sending money for him to keep eating this rat. And so he's eating it as the donations continue to come in. Like, those little noises are just people steady sending the money to watch him eat this rat on live. It's unbelievable.
Let's go.
Unbelievable.
God,
That's horrid. It's unbelievable. That's horrid. Like, these, but again, I want to show it just because it's disgusting and I guess and somewhat entertaining, but
it's not entertaining. It's really not entertaining.
But I really want to talk about
let's go.
The desperation for finances. You're eating a dead rat, fam. Live.
I can't take no more of this shit.
No, it gets worse. Usually I say it gets gooder, but this is not gonna get gooder.
What's about that, nigga?
It look like I know dude in the blue wave cap.
You probably do know dude in the blue wave cap.
They're only Chicago people.
Where do you find a white rat?
In the lab.
Like, y'all bought a rat, killed it.
I can't take it, G. Come on, man.
No, G, listen, just watch it, bro. Or don't watch it. But I'm saying, like, the desperation here, dog. He's going to, like, eat through this doggone rat, bro. We don't have to watch him eat the whole thing. But there's a point.
We should cut it off, should we, Ron?
I ain't throw yet.
You like this, don't you, Ron? You're nasty.
Let's go. Let's play again.
At some point, like he want to throw up. Dude, like, you can't throw up. You're gonna mess up our money. Watch.
We just get our tips. That's all it is.
Fuck them tips. Let's go. Man, I'm gonna start right now.
Yeah, I can say that.
All right, if you can't take it no more, go ahead and stop it, man.
That's horrid, man.
No, it's unbelievable. Except not unbelievable, right? The desperation for money is causing people to do anything. I'm not eating no dead rat for people to send donations for me on live. I'm not doing it at all. Period. Now, I know you had that show Fear Factor. It was like a #1 show for a few years. People just watch people do disgusting stuff. Now, so that's what I mean, like entertaining. That was a number one show in the country for a while. Fear Factor. It's crazy. It's crazy. Salim says this is porn.
It's fucking disgusting, man.
Man, listen.
But listen.
Also, if y'all want to see more of these type of videos, we'll when we put up these videos we talk about them on the show. We'll put them on our
we're not putting that on the. We're not putting that on the pod page.
We'll put it in our Iswis Pod story. So y'all make sure y'all follow Iswis Pod. Iswis Pod on Instagram. If you have not already followed it, please follow Iswis Pod on Instagram.
Todd said, "There goes my college debt." He should have thought of that first. Y'all are horrid, man.
Hey, it's the desperation for finances. That's why I tied that into the Mitch McConnell piece.
See, here's my problem, right? I mean, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Clearly, it's
right?
disgusting.
But do we have the same philosophy, the same behavior around OnlyFans? Because it's the same fucking thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it fucking is.
No, the fuck it's not.
Salim just called it porn. OnlyFans is the same thing. I ain't got nothing left to sell but this box, and I'm going to sell this box. It is a response to the economic situation that we are in. We are in dire needs.
I agree
so
with
if
that.
porn is my answer, whether it be eating rats or selling pussy, I'm gonna do it. And when we stop, we praise certain areas of this concept or this behavior set. We praise that shit. I don't want to say praise because that's a strong word.
But we accept and advocate for it.
Validate it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a push right now to validate sex workers. And that's a response from this economy tanking on your ass, so your value system shifts. So Butter said, that's the same as Chinese food. And it might fucking be, but the Chinese people at least cooking that shit and skinning it, which changes the context.
That was two when he was in China some years ago.
Either way, culturally, what's different from him trying to garner tips from a wide array of random
from whoever
people
just watching you eat
me eat a dead rat than a woman playing with a vibrator or a dude beating off, I don't know, whoever's on OnlyFans.
Sure.
What's the difference?
One of them is eating a rat.
It's a lack of ingenuity. It's the lack of ingenuity, lack of skills, and lack of access to opportunity.
We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we'll dive deeper into the discussion. What would lead a person to eat a dead rat live on social media for money? Is he doing it for attention? What would cause you to do that? Is there anything that would motivate you to do that? This is I Say What I Said. We'll be right back.
WIFTBPM.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
What the fuck be making niggas think they can fuck with me? Stay with a small circle to ensure I stay sucker free. Peace to the niggas rockin' those that truly got love for me. To the women that be lusting me, they dreaming of fucking me. Lick your fingertips and rub your clit to this and let my voice bring you the climax. My raps is more real than any 3D or IMAX. Listen and digest this fly shit like Venus flytraps. Side-eyed niggas that speak on my city is Chirac. Niggas love glorifying stupid shit, the useless shit in front of cameras, goofy capping, act as if you used to shit. With Max producing shit, how could I fall short? I hit the booth and get the kicking shit of all sorts. Listen, I'm just a product of the inner city. I remember plenty nights, there wasn't any lights and with no dinner in me. I was in tune with the harsh realities of life at an early age. Was used to struggle at an early stage. That made me appreciate the small shit. So now I kick that off the wall shit that leave these rapping niggas all sick. They say jealousy and envy get you nowhere, so I'd rather not go there. These niggas panic when I touch mics, I'm Rudy Gobert. I ain't the type to talk jazzy while hiding behind the screen naming Abby. You pushing buttons or trying to get at me, huh? I'm John Wick with this shit. I'm killing everything. While bitches sleeping on me, I'm setting fire to bed frames. Replacing alarm clocks with time bombs to bomb spots. This onslaught's for certain, these other niggas is long shots. Dousing your mattress in gasoline. It's asinine to try to find a rapper that rap is mean. I haven't seen a rap nigga that worried me yet. So far ahead of my time, I got fans that ain't heard of me yet. I'm not the nigga you should step to disrespectful. If I address you, won't be no rescue. They gon' have to dress you in a black suit and some dress shoes. Unless you suicidal or glutton for punishment, I'll never choose to rival the motherfuckers I'm running with.
What's happening, good people? We are back. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Tucson One. My name is Herb Howard. This is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual. Sometimes it is just thuggery, and last segment it was just disgusting. Tucson sent me this video yesterday of this man eating this rat.
He swears he always put this shit on my jacket, boy. I swear to God.
Tucson sent me this video.
I'm sitting here like, what video did I see? I'm waiting to hear about it.
Dead ass. You know who sent it to me? Gino.
Really?
Eugene McIntosh from the Big.
Yeah, Gene got to get something better to do with his time.
He said, look at this disgusting shit. I said, bro, that's disgusting.
That's nasty.
Yeah, man. That's disgusting. And shout out to Phil, man. Phil Samuel would say that he's seen the dude eat rats and spiders and all those things. So apparently this is just what dude does.
This is his hustle.
At some point in the video, you heard him say, oh, you're going to breach your record today.
Look,
you're going to go past 30.
Right. We could write it off however we want to write it off. Mm-hmm. Right. Whether you eating spiders, mouse shit, rats, or selling box on OnlyFans, it's just a survival mechanism. Right. When we start thinking about, even if we go back in, let's say the 80s during the crack era, right? If you were in the neighborhood, you legitimately could see how the economy shifted when crack came about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right. The hood was booming in a lot of senses. You know what I mean?
Start seeing cars you had never seen before.
Yeah, but just think about it like this: the underworld has shifted. Right? They've monetized the underworld in a lot of ways. One, crack and cocaine. Cocaine is still widely popular, but cocaine is not a poor person's drug in that sense. So that you might see up north
crack
or something like that.
Cheap.
But crack is cheap. But there aren't as many crackheads in the community no more. You can name them all. And if you can name them all, everybody can't make that money. Right? So as the world changes and the underworld shifts, even in regards to like marijuana, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care what nobody tells you. Heroin, cocaine, crack, marijuana outsells all that shit because it's more widely accepted by so many people. So you can always sell that shit. But as they monetize that and legalize that, they cut us out of that game. So we've been surviving. This is the shit that we don't fully grasp because we don't really understand our own positioning. We've been surviving in the underworld. We've been surviving off selling marijuana. We've been surviving off selling CDs. We've been surviving off boosting out of stores.
Loose
We've been
squares.
surviving out of a fucking hustle.
Selling socks.
It's all been a hustle, right?
Candy.
Whether it be I sell my skill set or I sell my motherfucking eating rats. It's all a hustle because we've been cut out of the fucking economic engine of America.
The candy lady is a black neighborhood thing.
It's
Ain't no candy lady in the white neighborhood.
In every neighborhood, if you
go to the store, get some candy.
It's authentically there. Everybody knows about the candy lady. It's part of the culture, right? Because we have to find adverse ways to survive within the lexicon because we're not included within it. We've been cut out of it. What they say that black people are a contagion to wealth, right? So whenever the opportunity comes around, it could be opportunity. But when your black ass shows up, you are contagious to this shit. Get it out of here. Right? That is the definitive of why we struggle in so many other areas. It's the definitive as to why we have these gaps in education. It's the definitive to why we have these gaps in housing, right? The change, when we talk about gentrification, the fucking land ain't changing. It's the same land, right? The value asset is the white people that moved in. It is you that make the land less valuable. And in the context of what that means, then one, we have to fold into ourselves and look for ourselves for resolve. But it also means that we cannot leverage our value being predicated on access to capital or the white value system that we've been engulfed in and ingratiated in for so long, because what it will do is it will force your ass to assimilate into an insane society, which has that motherfucker eating rats, but has so many of our young women selling box on Instagram, which even has our young boys selling penis on Instagram. It is the same shit. We have assimilated fully into an insane society and wonder why we cannot reap greater rewards, why we cannot reap sane rewards. This shit is insanity.
Yeah, 100% it is. But I mean, that's just the reality of the circumstance, man. Like that's just the reality that we are living in. Like, we have to be able to create our own opportunities for economic viability. We have to be able to do things just to sustain ourselves. Now, ultimately, the only long-term solution has to come in the form of reparations. But while we are continuing to just tread water, that looks like anything. It looks like anything from the candy lady to eating rats on live. Like, it just is what it is. Selling box on OnlyFans or selling dope on the corner. It just is what it is, man. And you made a good point when you talked about marijuana and the fact how much money it makes. Chris Rock, I was watching some Chris Rock stuff earlier, and first of all, I found some stuff that I'm going to use on Relationship Friday this week. But one thing I should have brought in for today, or sent to myself, whatever, for today, was one piece where he was talking about marijuana and cocaine. He was like, man, listen, the only reason, and this was before weed was legal in America, he's like, the only reason weed and cocaine ain't legal in America is because we don't make the best weed and cocaine in America. If the best weed and cocaine was made in America, he said it'd be a weed and cocaine shop on every corner. Now, guess where the best weed best weed is made? You can get the best weed in America now, and there's one on every corner.
It's hard to tax, right? I grew up in a household where we had a grow station in the basement.
Exactly. Soon as
all
they
my
figured out
life,
how to
my
tax
father
it,
was growing reefer.
it was gonna get paid.
Well, how you gonna tax some shit that this person could grow in the privacy of their crib?
Right.
I can't tax that shit.
Right.
So what do? I legalize it. I mean, I make it illegal, and the making it illegal becomes the tax on it.
Right.
It's all capital driven. It's all a game. It's all monopoly.
That's it.
Right. But just like any monopoly game, if you start the game and you aren't giving the same $1,500, if you're giving, let's say the black dollar is worth what? To every $1 that the white man has, they say a black man has 1 penny.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got $1,500 to start the game of Monopoly, we started with $15.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many times you gonna make it around that board and maneuver past every pitfall with $15? It's fucking impossible to get around that board one time. And not only did you got to maneuver around the board with $15, you got to maneuver around the board with $15 after you've let everybody roll the dice 400 motherfucking times.
Mm-hmm.
So they've already bought the land. They already own the utilities. You got $15 and you got to avoid every one of these pitfalls. You got to roll a goddamn 10 every time you roll the dice, or you gonna drown. That's just it. That's just it. There's no options. The only option is reparations.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Now, how do we get to reparations? That comes back to the context of this Mitch McConnell bullshit. That comes back to the context of understanding Kamala. That comes back to the context of understanding Democrat versus Republican. That comes back to the context of understanding Bush. I mean, not Bush. But shit, we can go down the line. I wasn't even thinking Bush. That was a mistake. But we could Trump and Obama, right? We have to vote our interest.
Mm-hmm.
Our interest, and collectively our interests are only reparations. None of this other shit matters. Whether you gay, straight, I could give a fuck.
Right.
I could give a fuck. Because your gay ass lives in the same place that my ass live in. You shop at the same grocery stores I shop at.
Right.
If you ever had a adopted child, he gonna go to the same fucked up schools that my kids are forced to go to. Right. It's the same lack of opportunity regardless of your sex. Right. It's the same lack of opportunity. So when you start to running like, hey, come on. It was the conversation we was having yesterday when the lady was like, not when the lady, but when T.I. and Common was like, I'm an energy person and the energy matters. Man, motherfuck somebody's energy. What is the policy? And what policy do we need? And when you start looking at black life and the desperation attached to black life, there is no other policy that matters except for reparations.
100%.
None.
100%.
None.
Nah. Nothing else will get us to the space that we need to be in. It's that's it. Nothing else will work. And so that's what we got to be about.
See, Auntie Janice on here talking about Ricky grew weed. Laughing out loud. You kidding. Everybody know Ricky grew weed.
Everybody at MacArthur Park. Got shot in the ass. Everybody know he got shot in the ass. That's hilarious. It is what it is. That is how we have been able to sustain ourselves through the black market, if you will, right? That's another thing I want to get away from. I want to get away from using black as the negative term for every fucking thing.
Let's get away from just using black for us. Let's say American descendants of slavery. Fuck is black. Black really, in the context of color, is not a color. It's devoid of color.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay, I see the value in that, and I'm willing to go there. But I ain't too long ago settled on black as being my identifier, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to move it around. I'm willing to move around because I see the value of it, right? I see the value of everybody understanding exactly who we're talking about when we say black, right? Because you say black, it's like not everybody's black. I was watching On the Soil, shout out to the Bigs, every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Gene said, who defines
right
who's
here,
black?
Right? And Gene was talking about the Dominican players and Spanish players, and like they black, and I was like, for the argument that he was making, I understood it, but I was like, they not. I was like, ugh. But for the point he was making, he was absolutely right. You look at these guys, David Ortiz. Until David Ortiz talks, he's just a big black man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, Papi is like, oh shit, where are you from? But you look at them dudes, they absolutely look just like us.
And that's the context, though, right? We got to get away from is black a color,
right,
or is black a consciousness,
and experience, right? A consciousness and experience, right? And
So
ADOS does that.
Even when we say there's like 44 million black Americans, that's really not true.
Right.
It's like 36, and the rest of them is
other,
mm-hmm. right? And they don't identify with us. That's just real.
It's real.
They have a culture, a language.
Yeah. They can't wait to tell you I'm Dominican.
I'm different.
Right.
And the reason they like at least wearing the badge of difference in regards to us, because everybody in the world knows there's a brand attached to blackness,
mm-hmm.
at least American blackness, mm-hmm. specifically in America.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you come here, one of my closest friends is from a Belizean family. Now he from East End. God damn it, that's where he from.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But everybody he was the last kid born to a family of like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only child born here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody else is from Belize, like legitimately from Belize,
right.
but he's
right.
from Belizean lineage.
Right.
He'll flat out tell you, man, when I tell people I'm from Belize, I get a different response. When they think I'm from East End, it's some other shit.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing else changed about him.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's an identifier with the East End attitude or the East End stereotype that's very different than the Belizean stereotype.
Right.
Right? And because of that, I would almost bet $1 to a dime, and ain't even got to bet. We know you're afforded different kind of opportunities. We know it. Right? So let's call it what it is. And for us, let's lock in and find the value in that ADOS kind of construct, right? Because it is valuable, and it's that lineage that pushes the conversation of reparations. Because no knock to my homie, but Belizean or Jamaican, not to say they didn't experience a slavery, but they didn't experience the slavery we experienced. So if you got a problem, you need to go who colonized those places. Go holler at them. Run me my bread, and I'm gonna support you 1,000%.
1,000%, fam.
Right?
Go get your
but
bread.
when you start looking at the breakdown of the numbers here,
right?
Even within the diaspora, we at the bottom of the black diaspora, and we are the original citizens. That shit ain't logical. How's everybody eating off our birthright except us?
Right, exactly. Like and that's why that line needs to be drawn. Right, never mind the social dynamics of it, the social economic dynamics of it. Right, where you talk about these are groups of people who don't even fuck with us. Right, they come here like, nah, stay away from them black Americans. Right, you know. Stay away from them, right? So that's one piece. But just on the economic piece, when you talk about our fight for reparations, we're telling this particular country, the United States of America and its government, that y'all owe American descendants of slaves a debt. Pay that shit, right? That becomes very, very complicated. That becomes more complicated. It's already extremely complicated. It becomes more complicated when you start to throw in other groups of people who want to lay claims to that debt. This ain't your debt, fam. They don't owe you, right? This ain't your debt. Now, does, whoever the fuck, does Brazil owe you some money? Does Jamaica owe you? Like, cool. Run it, right? I will champion that cause as much as I can for you. But when you come and say you want to get in on the debt that's owed to me, you muddying the waters, and I don't like it. I don't appreciate it, and I'm not going to advocate for it. No.
And be clear, man. We talk about this shit as like it's a new idea.
Mm-hmm.
And in essence, it's a new idea for us because our lack of value in what it means to be black in America has kind of pushed us to look for value outside of the shores of America. So we attach ourselves to the continent in a way to kind of connect ourselves to some kind of cultural consciousness.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But when those people from the continent come over here, they leverage the resources that were set aside for us. Right?
Real spill.
They're very clear about that shit.
Real spill.
Right? So here I am stealing your birthright while laughing at you for not really having any inkling of understanding of what it means to be from the continent. Because the continent don't see themselves as one culture.
Hell no. It's 1,000 countries over there. How could they see themselves as one culture? It's 18 different languages over there. How could you see themselves as one culture? You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't the same. Some of those cities and civilizations are very closely aligned to like Western civilizations. Some of them don't wear clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't the fucking same. You know what I'm saying? So I'm African. Fam, where? And what kind? You know what I'm saying? Like it's but it comes from a place of ignorance though. It comes from a sincere place of ignorance, a sincere lack of information that would lead people to be like, oh, Africa, the continent, the motherland. I'm here for all that. But understand what you're saying here. It's not the same. You're not talking about a monolith of people over there. You're talking about it's the biggest plot of land on earth, fam. Like this, you don't just drop off somewhere and be like, oh, it's the same thing. No, it's not. It's different. We talk about how different Chicago can be from one block to the next. You talking about the whole continent of Africa? Fam, stop it. It's not the same thing.
But in context, though, right? So we got to think about the opportunities that we've had in this country. The ones that have kind of clouded the judgment of, let's say, the last, I don't know, maybe 4 generations.
Sure.
Those clouded judgments come from our ability to navigate the social dynamic of America in a way that our forefathers past those 4 generations had not had the opportunity to do so. Right? So there's a different understanding when you go into a restaurant and they look at you and say, nigga, get the fuck up out of here. There's a different understanding when you can legitimately see black people hung from trees visibly. There's a different understanding when you're considered a boy. There's a different understanding when you know your place, when you cannot look a white man in the eye. There's a different understanding, right? But you create the Civil Rights Act of 1964. You open up the doors to limited opportunities, and it starts to change the dynamic and structure of overt racism. And that dynamic and that structure shifts, and it changes, just like we say, marketing and messaging dictates behavior. Right? So now, to put it plainly, right, motherfuckers had to make a law for white folks to take your money, bruh.
Yeah.
They had to make a law for the white folks to take your money.
Yeah. Fuck you, fam. We don't even want your bread.
So in that, the context shifts, and now your money becomes more valuable than your personhood, and I want your money now. Right? So if I need your money, I can feel however way I want to feel about you, but I'll allow you to spend your money with me. But it didn't change the context.
You can even come in the front door now.
It didn't change the feeling or the love in their hearts. It just changed the goal. I want to get your money.
Yeah.
But see, from us, we've come to the conversation like we're a part of.
Nah, and we aren't.
Right? And we're not a part of. You're against the same ropes. Right? So
we're separate from.
But we're chasing that connectivity to something.
We want it desperately.
Right? So now we've shaped our value sets based off transactional results from having or not having.
And thus you find
because
yourself.
That's what gives us value in the white arena. I can go in here and buy XYZ this.
Exactly.
I could buy this watch or this clothes, and I become valuable in the eyes of white folks. Hence, this is what is really essentially valuable.
No matter how much I have to degrade myself, and thus you may find me eating a dead rat.
It ain't even about degrading. It's just that this is what, at that point, this is the value standard. So I'll do whatever it is to meet the value standard. Because it happens on both sides of the spectrum, whether you're degrading yourself or you're that capitulating beta male who's in corporate America, but he's the VP of XYZ company.
Can we add the rat eating man to the hood tours?
Yours, I wouldn't put him on my fucking hood tour.
Add him to the hood
my
tour.
hood tour is gonna be strictly dope boys and stick up men.
Add him to the hood tour, man.
Nah, I'm good on him.
Take you by the little rat.
That ain't in my
take
hood.
you by rat eating Tyrone, bro.
That ain't rat eating Tyrone ain't from my hood.
Yeah,
that ain't
man.
how we move in my hood.
Yeah, man.
I got way more respect for the dope boys and stick up men. I'm straight.
We definitely got. Like, I'm dead ass serious about these hood tours, though.
I see you are.
Them joints can
I'll
sell.
call the stick up boys. We can get it going,
Bro, they want to just come right around and see. As long as you can tell them that they'll be safe, make them sign a waiver, because we can't guarantee your safety, because it got to be a real thing, right? They want to feel like it's a little real, like you might die. You know what I'm saying? You how do you take scary rides now? You got to sign this waiver just in case. That just attract more people to, like, I might die. Ew. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we got to make them sign a waiver. Like, hey, whatever happens, we don't know. We going to O Block, right? Now, O Block never really meant shit to me until the drill rapper started talking about it. It was just 5 minutes from the crib. That's just what it was. Just 60. It was just 67th to 63rd and King Draft. That's what it was. But anyhow, you know, since people are so excited about it, and you watch those YouTube videos and they get millions and millions and millions of views, come take the hood tours in Chicago. While everybody is all excited about crime and everything that goes down in the city, capitalize on that joint. Y'all want the real Chicago experience? Come on.
Butter said, make the Hunters the first stop. We'll be waiting.
Exactly. Thanks, Butter. That's how we get. I mean, dude. That's how we get them on both ends. Because now we can't be using people's names.
Yeah, Butter is not his name, so we can use Butter all we want. Margarine.
He has 37 aliases. Okay.
On his college tour.
On his college tour.
book tour. His book
on his
tour.
book tour. On his book tour. On his book tour.
No.
Yeah. No, we could say that. I'm not. Y'all playing.
But look, even in again, context is so important, right? You just talked about the popularity of O Block and drill music and doing the hood tours, right?
Yeah.
Again, back to the hustle and the space and place of lack that we operate in. What do you think the shorties are doing? That's the shorties version of eating rats and OnlyFans. They're legitimately on YouTube selling their problems on O Block.
Selling death.
Mm-hmm. And they're capitalizing off of it. There are about 700,000 motherfucking websites or YouTube sites that will tell you about all of the crime and criminality that happens between 79th and 47th.
On God.
Right? They got names, they got dates, they got locations, they know who the shooters were, who was not there, who was there, and they're monetizing this behavior. So these aren't the superstars that rise about this shit. These are not the artists who rise about this shit, who have mastered the craft and created a space for themselves to sell this art. These are just the storytellers of the behaviors that are happening in our community, because it is fetishized, right? We do have, white folks do, it ain't just white folks, goddammit. We are tuned into the ghetto in the same kind of way.
Bueller, that boy came to O Block at like 5 a.m.
We tuned in the same kind of way.
O Block don't even wake up to 2 p.m.
But I told you when Von died, right? Because I was not engaged at all in the drill music scene. Like, I know them because, you know, you hear their names here and there, but as regards to the music, I couldn't take that mundane, ignorant shit. I couldn't even sit there to study it in the way to say, what is the art value in this shit? It just was ignorant to me. And I fully believe that whatever you allow into your body becomes a part of you, and I don't want that shit in my body.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Now, when Von died, something took over me. It was like, man, let me find out who this little dude was. And as I started finding out who this little dude was and started going down the rabbit hole, I was fucking stuck. Yeah. I was stuck there for like a week and a half.
Yeah,
like, I kept going in this shit. Like,